Fifine sent me this to review, the K688, their dynamic studio/podcast mic with XLR and USB connection, which costs less than 1/3 of the price of my Rode NT1 5th gen. And in this video, I'm going to see whether it delivers professional enough quality as a voice actor in my treated booth for my daily corporate work, as well as character voices. And the big question on my mind right now is it actually good enough to replace my trusty NT1? The Fifine K688 is an incredibly light microphone, weighing in at just 326 grams, and the build is pretty solid enough, despite all the plastic. On the back panel, you get mic and headphone volume knobs, a 3.5mm mini jack headphone socket, and the XLR and USB-C outputs. There is a mute touch button that lights up green when the USB is active and red when it's muted, which is pretty cool. But for me, the placing can be a bit awkward, and I have muted the mic a couple of times already by accident, so watch out for that. And if you want to geek out on the tech specs and frequency response graph, pause the video now. Okay, so let's see how it sounds. As you can see, I've got both the Fifine K688 and my Rode NT1 5th gen connected to my Steinberg UR44 audio interface via XLR, and I'm recording both mics simultaneously in Reaper. The gain on the NT1 is at 3 o'clock, but I've had to whack up the gain for the K688 to full, which is not unusual for a dynamic mic. Here's an excerpt from a corporate script I've been working with recently. Manufacturing, power plants, and industry in the Czech Republic and abroad use intelligent control systems designed by engineers from innovative companies from the Pilsen region. The university's Research Technology Centre is developing completely new applications for contactless thermal imaging measurement, and not only for industry. Sophisticated computers that are built into medical devices are saving people's lives. And they're also being used in industry, transport, and aviation. Now let's swap over and see what the USB sounds like. I recorded a character read of an orc character I've been working on recently. Let's see what that sounds like.
Crush 'em! Smash 'em till their bones rattle. Call that a fight? Ha! I'll show you real strength, blood and iron. The orc way. No fear, no mercy. Only the strong will stand on your broken skull.
Now, not everyone has an acoustically treated space like this to record in. So, using the USB into Reaper and this sound in my booth as your baseline sound, this is what the Fifine K688 sounds like in a bedroom. And this is what the Fifine K688 sounds like on the stairs. And this is what the Fifine K688 sounds like in the kitchen with the tumble dryer on. And this is what it sounds like on Google Meet. And now we're going to go back into the booth for a podcast recording using the K688 via USB into Reaper, which, in all honesty, is probably Fifine's target audience and use case for this mic. So, you're on the Fifine K688 dynamic mic. Tell me, what's the build quality like? It's actually surprisingly sturdy for a plastic mic, although the shock mount is metal, and the knobs and sockets feel solid enough as well. Although the jury is still out on that mute touch button placement, but maybe that's just me. How about the price to performance ratio for voiceover work? Well, Fifine sent me it free of charge, but at just $73, I think it's an absolute steal for what you get. I mean, it's not broadcast quality, but for corporate work it seems to hold up better than expected, and for 30% of the price of the Rode NT1. Although it lacks the 32-bit float capability, which came in really useful when it came to that character read. Now, dynamic mics are famous for their room rejection qualities. How does the K688 fare? Again, surprisingly well. In the environment tests, you could still hear the tumble dryer in the background in the kitchen, and there was a bit of reverb on the stairs, but the bedroom or something similar like a living room would be perfectly adequate for a podcast interview location with this mic. And let's face it, no one's going to record a podcast on the stairs, are they? So the big question is, would you use it instead of this, your Rode NT1 5th gen, for your everyday work? At the end of the day, I don't think so, no. It just doesn't quite cut it in the booth for the extremely high-quality professional sound I need for voiceover. But I think I would happily take it with me on the road as a travel mic, especially as it's so light. It would definitely be fine for auditions from hotel rooms, that kind of thing. And if I were to do a podcast, I would have no qualms at all about using the K688 to interview someone in their office, for example. I mean, the room rejection is perfectly acceptable for that kind of thing, which is actually where I think Fifine is really aiming with this mic. So your final verdict is, well, what it does pretty well. I wouldn't recommend it for voiceover per se, but if you're after a good quality, extremely cheap USB podcast mic that you can just plug in and use, then the Fifine K688 could be the mic for you. And you get the added benefit of XLR if you need it. And I must say, it's a remarkably fun mic to use if such a thing exists. But will it encourage viewers to subscribe? Well, I think viewers should definitely hit the like button if they've enjoyed the video, and yes, they should also consider subscribing so that they don't miss out on more gear reviews in the future, and other voiceover shenanigans. And if you want to learn more about this mic, take a look at this video.